Families in Action on your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen along with my co-host, which is actually Michael Dougherty, but here it's the Silver Fox. So if you're watching us on TV, you know why we call him the Silver Fox. So hi, Mike.
Hi. You must be referring to the color of my hair.
I'd never.
Which is actually used to be silver, but it's turned white after doing this show.
It looks kind of silver to me. Okay. Don't it look silver to you guys?
Silver to me.
Yeah, it looks silver, huh?
There we go.
Hey, Mike. Families in Action is brought to you by your local hometown station, AM 1220. We've been on the air 13 years, soon to be going on 14.
Coming in November.
In November.
When you vote, you'll also be thinking about us starting our 14th year.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
That's a long, long time. And also by Action Family Counseling, which is alcohol and drug treatment centers. We have everything from outpatient to residential to inpatient to detox to, I can go on for days, for adults and adolescents. And then the Action Foundation, Family Foundation, I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
We got three things I want to talk about today. One is to remind people that it's still coming. It's moving a little slow, but it's going to come. And that's coming. The experience, the moving memorial. It's going to be a wonderful thing. The next thing is, real quickly, free parent support group. That's every Tuesday from 7 to 9 at Canyon High School. And we're coming up on the school year again, so let's talk about the Action Academy, free public sober school for local junior and senior high school students, and that's part of the Hart School District.
It is ran by the Hart School District has teachers, and Action Us does the counseling and the other parts of it, and it's going to be over on Soledad Canyon at the corporate. It's absolutely free of charge, which is very exciting. And you know, there's a lot of kids that are coming out of rehabs or having really struggling with peer pressure and substance abuse, and this is a safe place for them to go to school and not have to worry about all that. And the good thing about the academy is we don't want to keep kids in bubbles. I mean, our job is to get them strong enough to go back to regular school and be able to say no. So it's been very, very successful. It was for 12, and I think we just raised it to 16 kids, so we're pretty excited about that. And hey, here we go.
That's fantastic. And you know, again, about the free parenting support group on Tuesdays, anybody that wants to meet Cary, Cary is there every Tuesday night from 7 to 9. That's at Canyon High School.
That's at Canyon High School, 7 p.m. in the AA building. We've been doing this particular group in this valley for over 25 years. A long time. I mean, it was tough love, and then it was this and that, but it's always been action. It's always been the same thing, just in different locations. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Hey, Cary, we have a full studio today.
It looks like it, Mike.
With our friends. We have 4 guests with us. We're all sandwiched in here, shoulder to shoulder.
You put Larry in the corner, didn't you?
We have Larry Schallert from College of the Canyons, and that's the Student Health and Wellness. Hello.
Hi there. Good to see you guys.
Great to be with you.
And
sitting
about today's program.
Sitting next to you is a very special person. We're going to have to take a moment to introduce your daughter.
Why don't we let Larry introduce her?
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. This is my wonderful daughter, Janae Schallert. She is heading into her MSW program starting next week, which is a Master's in Social Work. But she also has come off several years of being a resident advisor at Chico, Cal State University Chico, where she encountered a lot of different kinds of things that would happen in the dorms. So, and she's also been all around the world working for the Department of Defense, working with youth and families. So hopefully she'll be able to give you some insights.
You got a lot to be proud of.
I do, for sure.
I'm telling you. Wow, in spite of him.
In spite of me.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Very, very cool.
Oh, and I was going to say something. You know, you mentioned it, Larry, but Larry and Janae have been globe-trotting, Cary. Larry, let me see if I get this right. Larry actually caught up with his daughter, who was already in. Where was it that you found each other?
We met up in Budapest. I was traveling around for a while, and then both my parents met me in Budapest, and we were able to road trip around Eastern Europe for several weeks.
Very cool.
It was a good time.
How cool is that?
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And we also have 2 other guests with us, both representing College of the Canyons Student Health and Wellness. Tracy Taris, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And what is it that you do there?
I'm a marriage and family therapist at the Student Health and Wellness Center.
Okay. And then we also have Natalie Miller with us. Natalie, what is it you do over there?
I work at the Student Health and Wellness Center, but I also helped establish the Cougar Peers, which is a a student peer education group there. So we're really excited because we're really starting to vamp it up, and I'll be helping lead it this year.
Oh,
so.
Wow. Well, all of you are here. Who's there at Student Health and Wellness? Are the halls empty? What's going on?
I have a skeleton crew for this hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're all listening.
What do you
right?
think all those people waiting in line outside?
Oh, that's
They're
right.
not here to see us, Mike.
Not here to see us. Okay.
No.
Cary, we have some action file items that are very interesting. We ready for that?
I think so.
Well, listen to this one now. And our guest.
And by the way, jump in.
Absolutely. Comment on this. This is just, well, a new threat in the fight against overdoses. Listen to this. Elephant sedatives. A drug used to sedate elephants and other large animals. It is 100 times as potent as fentanyl, which is incredibly potent, right? Which is already escalating the country's heroin troubles. But now this new sedative is suspected in overdoses in several states where authorities say they found it mixed with or passed off as heroin. Now, it's called carfentanil. The appearance of carfentanil, one of the most potent opioids known to the investigators, adds another twist to the fight against opioid painkillers in a country already awash in heroin and fentanyl cases. Investigators are still trying to crack down the source of the carfentanil, but authorities aren't aware of any thefts of the drug, and so they're trying to look into where it's coming from. Chinese companies sell carfentanil online, but it hasn't shown up much in the U.S. drug supply. The drug has been suspected in overdoses or found in seized drugs in central Kentucky and in Florida's Tampa Bay and Sarasota areas, as well as Ohio cities. Akron authorities have seen over 230 overdoses in July 20.
So when these drugs come out, right, and it's the heroin and it's cut with fentanyl or this kind of drug or whatever it is, the addicts, instead of getting scared, they go running for the drug. They're hearing this killer drug and it's so potent, and they say to themselves, you know what, I'm going to buy that. That's what I want. I just will use very little. So they're actually chasing these drugs that are killing them, thinking if they just use a little bit, they'll survive, but they'll get more high.
Yeah.
Now, this is how scary this stuff is.
It's really eye-opening, and one of the things that you mentioned, Mike, that I think is really important is it's available online. And more we've seen, at least at the college, students will talk to us about, well, and I got this online, and I had to go downtown to get it, and I endangered myself by going downtown and buying it, from somebody, but the connection was online. So I want parents to understand that this is a new sort of
well, the reason it's online is because it's used in zoos, and this will put in perspective what we're talking about in terms of the danger. Carfentanil is so powerful that zoo veterinarians typically wear a face shield, gloves, and other protective gear. It's basically a hazmat suit when preparing the medicine to sedate animals, because even one drop splattered into a person's eye or nose can be fatal. A loaded syringe, a reversal drug, is kept on hand just in case. And in suspected carfentanil overdose cases here, emergency responders have had to administer multiple doses of the overdose antidote naloxone, which is commonly referred to as Narcan, to save people. But even the antidote might not be enough. They're saying Narcan may not save you.
You might have to do a double dose of it. And but by the way, if anybody's out there lives with an opiate addict, you really should have that Narcan stuff in your house, and you can get them at Walmart and that kind of stuff, or Walgreens. I believe if you don't even have the money, they'll give you a spray. They'll give it to you because it can save your life if you're overdosing on opiates. If it's another thing, it won't hurt you, but it won't save you. It's just opiates that it'll save. And with the amount of deaths that we have in this country right now with opiates, if you have somebody that's an opiate addict living with you, you should have it in your house.
Well, to me, it speaks to the desperation of people not wanting to feel. What you're saying, they're running toward the drug whenever they hear of things like that. Some people become hooked on drugs in college or even in high school just as an experiment, but a lot of times it has to do with pain and what can I do to escape the pain instead of feeling the pain. And that's one of the reasons we are here at the Health and Wellness Center, is to help college kids alleviate stress and anxiety, address the issues of depression. I mean, it's painful to go through it, but if you go through it, you can get to the other side.
Stronger.
Taking these drugs, you never really get through it.
Well, the problem with drugs is, you come down. and your problems are still there.
Exactly.
You ever watch those old John Wayne movies or cowboy movies, and somebody's girlfriend or wife just left them, and what do? They go to a bar and they drink, and what are they doing when they're drinking? They're crying because they're even more depressed, because it's a depressant. Drugs don't make you feel better.
No,
it just brings you down, and when you come off of the drug, you really have problems even more. And you're right. I mean, I believe, just in anything. I mean, we run the psych unit. People have to want to die to come there. I think you did some interning there, if I remember.
Yes, I did, yeah.
And if you really sit down with somebody, if you really sit down with someone that attempted suicide, it's usually the same thing. Well, I really didn't want to die. I just didn't want to feel.
Exactly. Well, one of the questions I ask when someone tells me they are contemplating suicide is, if these problems were gone tomorrow, would you still kill yourself? Right. And the answer is always no. It's never been yes.
Right. So think about that. Really, a couple of things. Number one is what's worth dying for? I'm really trying to figure that out, and this is a question I ask a lot of our patients or clients, is what is really worth dying for? A guy? No. A girl?
No.
A job? What? Maybe, you know what? Well, I used to say there's nothing worth dying for. I'd probably change my mind. I'd probably step in front of a bazooka for my children. But that would be it. So at the end of the day, if it's a girl, if it's a guy, if it's a job, whatever it is, financial, whatever the deal is, that will pass. And I'm not saying that, time heals everything, because we know that's not true. But time makes things feel and become easier to deal with, right?
Yeah, once you work through it.
Once you work through it, right. Mm. But if you avoid it by using drugs and drinking, at the end of the day, they're still there.
Yeah. And it's hard to forget about that, because, in LA especially, you look around the world and there's just so much pressure here between the young and the old. And I think in this valley, then there's even a lot of pressure, because we just have a different kind of dynamic than different valleys. So we just got to keep remembering to keep looking up and keep aware of the people around us as well.
You said something really special, and we have more things here, more almost competition here than in LA and stuff like that, to look a little better, to have a little bit more, right?
Oh yeah, everybody, whether it's in like public schools or in your job or in how somebody's house appears, it's just there's this pressure constantly going, and I think it's sometimes unnecessary, but people constantly are trying to raise the bar and do better and bring what all they can to the table, and it gets very stressful, and people don't always understand these problems.
I was talking to a friend of mine, actually, who was saying about somebody that was driving a really nice car and lives in a big fancy house, and he was saying, oh man, that guy's got it made. I said, well, you never really know what's going on. So many people are hooked up to their nose.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're driving all this fancy stuff to try to keep up with everybody, but they can't afford it.
And nobody really knows what's going on the inside. And we always have to remember to be able to relate to people on different levels, because what they may look like is not what always happens.
And social media.
Oh gosh, don't even start that.
I'm gonna let you talk about that one. I just threw that out, and I'm gonna back off.
Being a peer educator, I think I've gotten involved with lots of students, because obviously they're my age, and it's really depressing to see people kind of fall apart because of social media, because there's this stress, like you have to keep up, you got to keep posting fantastic things, and then what ends up happening is that these students get really hurt by these things, because they're like, oh, I don't see me going to the Hollywood Tower. I don't see me partying. I should be doing that. Why didn't they invite me to this event? Even though it's not really the problem. Really, not everybody's life is as glamorous as social media seems.
Yeah, I was talking to this 16-year-old girl a few weeks ago, and super depressed, using drugs. And when we really sat down and talked in group, she didn't have as many followers as other people
that's
on
horrible.
Instagram. It's like, what? Really?
Yeah, it's honestly something to laugh about, but people do get pressured. The young generation feels like that's part of their keep-up, that's part of their life,
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what it is. I accidentally did something with Instagram about 2 weeks ago, and I get like 80 followers, and I don't even know what I did. I want to get rid of them.
Meanwhile, and there's also all these fake accounts going around, and people accept these fake accounts, and that's also very dangerous in itself.
What do you mean?
Well, there's me personally, every day I get a fake account, and it's actually it's considered in pornography, which is inappropriate on the social media standards.
Right.
And they're constantly trying to follow you.
I just blocked about 15 in the last 3 days.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and it's actually really bad because they're often like viruses, you know, or they expose things that aren't appropriate, and they're sometimes created by computers, and it's just overall it's messing up the social media spectrum, and so that can even look like you're getting more followers, or you're somebody's stalking you.
I blocked. I'm telling you, over a dozen.
How can you tell if it's a fake account?
Well, I'll show you. It's easy to tell.
Usually they're pretty easy, but I mean, you got to look at the name, the kind of pictures they're posting, the descriptions. But overall, it's like pretty obvious. And to be honest, if you don't know the person, just don't even think about friending them.
And if you look at somebody that wants to friend you and they got no friends, there's something wrong with that picture too. It's like,
or there's like excessive amount of friends too.
Exactly. Right. Or if it's talking some kind of pornography stuff, you know, it's nothing you want to be part of.
And I would recommend reporting them every single time I report them.
I just block them.
Yeah, you could block them. I just report them just because I don't want other people to deal with it. Every little thing you can do helps.
So this social media is a real deal, isn't it?
Oh, it's a very big deal. I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. Go ahead.
And even it's not just across only Instagram. I mean, on Facebook too, people's accounts have gotten hacked and things have gotten posted that are inappropriate. Mm-hmm. And just even posting things as an individual, you have to be aware of what you're posting.
And remember, whatever you put out there stays out there. It's there. I mean, it can be found.
Exactly.
So you really got to be really, really careful about what you post. And that's number one. Number two is, I know that when I want to hire somebody for work, I do a little Google search. And if I can get to their Facebook or what they post, I want to know. Yeah. And if it's inappropriate stuff, they're not working for me.
Well, and even as friends, I mean, as you make friends, you might look at their social media and you might say, wow, they're really different than I thought they would be, and it may not even be their true self.
Right.
All this talk about social media, I was going to send Cary a Facebook message just this moment, letting him know that we have another action file item here. before
Larry or Tracy, I need a little help afterwards.
I've got a question for our guests here. Which U.S. city do you think has the highest use of pot? I know Cary already knows the answer to this. San Francisco. San Francisco.
I was thinking Colorado.
Right. Well, I knew that was what I knew somebody was going to say Colorado, but actually, not surprising, parts of Colorado rate second. And then third are some of the northern parts of Alaska.
I'm not actually surprised.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense because it's really legal everywhere. I mean, so Colorado legalized it. It's a ticket here.
Yeah.
A speeding ticket's more money. And I'll tell you what, if they pull you over and you got less than an ounce, they're not even going to give you a ticket. Yeah. So there you go. So it's really kind of legal everywhere. And I'm going to do this show later about pot. So everybody keeps, what do you think about, what are you going to vote for, legal it or not? I don't care if it's legal or not. It's already there. What I care about is the lack of, what's the word I'm looking for?
The
lack of people, and people just don't think it's a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
Used to be a parent would call me and say, what was in his drug test? Oh, 800 milligrams of THC. And they go, oh my God. Now they call me and they say, what's in his drug test? I say, 800 milligrams of marijuana. That's it? Okay, thank you.
Oh, because it's been normalized. It's almost like it's normal now to take pot, and that's not the case.
And there's still different effects, and different ways to look at people who take pot, and it's dangerous still. I mean, considering some of the effects, it's not the most harmful, but it's dangerous.
Exactly. And that's what people say, well, it's the least harmful drug. So what?
Well, for someone that's 25 or under, your prefrontal cortex isn't developed. Right. So if you're smoking marijuana, you're doing much damage to your brain because it hasn't come in.
So glad to hear you saying that, because we talk about that almost every Monday on this show. We really do. Yeah. And this is a great segue into what we're going to talk about today, Cary. We're going to be talking about college students, drugs and alcohol, because the doors, the gates are getting ready to open, and the students are going to flood into college, and some of them have never been there before. Oh, so what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
And I'll tell you, so many of these kids, right? When they're at home, their parents are really rigid and tight and tough on them, but then all of a sudden they're kind of on their own and they're in college. Opens up a whole different world for those people, which you guys are going to kind of enlighten us on when we come back from break. This is Families in Action on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We'll be right back.